Welcome back. Now that we've completed the topic introduction to psychiatric mental health nursing, let's quickly go over the key takeaways. First, we explored the concept of mental health and mental illness, understanding that both exist on a continuum and can change over time. Next, we examined the holistic nature of mental health using the biopsychosocial model, which highlights the role of biological, psychological, and social factors. Then, we looked at the role of psychiatric mental health nurses, focusing on therapeutic communication, compassionate care, and evidence-based practice. Finally, we discussed the impact of culture, stigma, and global trends, and how they influence mental health care and access to support. Now, building on this foundation, we can move forward to the next topic: neurobiological theories and psychopharmacology. And by the end of this lesson, you will be able to 1. Identify the major structure of the brain. 2. Describe its primary functions. And 3. Explain how different brain regions influence behavior, emotions, and mental processes in psychiatric conditions. Let's now look at what the brain is all about. The brain is the control center of mental processes, emotions, and behavior. For psychiatric nursing, understanding the brain structure helps in understanding mental illness. Moving forward, we will look at the various brain structure and how brain function relates to mental health conditions. First, the cerebrum. The cerebrum is responsible for our thought, memory, emotions, and judgment. Next is the frontal lobe. This part of the brain controls reasoning, planning, and decision-making. Damage can cause impulsivity or personality changes. We will now shift our attention to the temporal lobe, and this is responsible for handling hearing and memory. This can be linked to hallucinations in schizophrenia. Let's now explore parietal lobe. The parietal lobe is part of the brain that processes information and sensor information. Continuing, we will look at the occipital lobe. And the occipital lobe is the vision center. At this point, we will discuss the limbic system and its connection to emotions. The limbic system is the emotional brain linked to fear, pleasure, and anger, which is involved in anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And finally, the hypothalamus. This is the part of the brain that regulates sleep, hunger, and stress response. When any part of the brain is affected or injured, it results in some form of irregularity. For instance, a patient with an injury in the frontal lobe may show poor judgment and socially inappropriate behavior. All right, let's wrap this section up. 1. The brain serves as the central control system for thought, emotion, and behavior, making it essential in understanding mental health. 2. Key structures such as the cerebrum, lobes of the brain, limbic system, and hypothalamus each have specialized roles in cognition, sensory processing, emotional regulation, and bodily functions. 3. Dysfunction in any of these brain areas can lead to changes in behavior and mental health conditions, which is important in psychiatric mental health nursing assessment and care. That is it for this session. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.